guys, this is Chelsea with Ready Jet Go Travels. I'm chuckling a little bit listening to my husband try to corral my children and get them away from the microphone sound. So if you happen to hear kids screaming in the background, they're just having a good time over there. But I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. We're going to be talking about 5 myths about travel agents. So if you have some myths or some things that you think are true about travel agents, or some things you think might not be true about travel agents, I'd like to hear them. You can comment and I will happily answer anything that comes through. But so we're going to get started. I do have a couple of announcements that I'll be making. I planned on one announcement, but really there's kind of 2 now. The first one I'll go ahead and get out of the way because it's not even good news, so we'll just get it out of the way and move on. If you haven't heard, most cruising has been postponed again, so we're now postponed into May for most all cruise lines. If cruising is something that you're looking forward to doing, I know I have a few clients that are eager to get their trip rebooked. We are pushed out until about mid-May for most all of those. Some destinations are already canceling further out, but I'm still hopeful that maybe by the end of the year we'll be cruising again. But I just wanted to give you all that update if you hadn't heard already. So let's talk tonight. We're talking about 5 myths about travel agents. And these are always kind of fun to do, and it's fun to hear what people think your job is like, and you can kind of like let them know what's true and what's not. So the first myth that I want to talk about is that travel agents are expensive to use. So sometimes a lot of people want to book it themselves, and there might be a few different reasons. Some people just like the control of it. But other people are concerned that having someone book the trip for them is going to be an expensive thing. And that's really not the case. As a travel agent, for the most part, there are going to be some caveats, and we can talk about those. But for the most part, it doesn't cost you anything to use me to book your trip. I get paid by the suppliers. So, for instance, if you're going on a cruise, maybe by the end of the year, that cruise line actually pays me once you've traveled. And the same is true for like all-inclusive resorts or, different hotels, things like that. I actually get paid by those suppliers. So it's not out of your pocket to use me for most trips. And I say for most trips because there are like some domestic trips that I plan for people, and I do charge just a planning fee for those because sadly, domestically, a lot of places don't work with travel agents. So in order for, to offset my time, there is a planning fee for that. But if you're wanting to hop a plane, go to the Caribbean, lay on the beach, drink some drinks, eat some food, and read some books, there's no fee for that. Now, I do charge a plan to go fee, and that's just basically a deposit up front while I plan your trip. Once you book your trip, that cost is applied to the balance of your trip, and so it washes out and you don't actually have to pay for me to book your trip. So travel agents are not expensive to use. That's not a worry that you need to have. And honestly, even if you're doing the research yourself, I guess, you maybe you're one of those control freaks and you like to plan it all yourself, it's still worth picking up the phone or shooting me an email, shooting me a text, grabbing me on Facebook, just check. Because a lot of times, even though you've done the work, I might be able to, do some things with the pricing that you found. That actually brings me into my next myth, which is that travel agents can find the lowest prices. And I'm going to be honest and tell you that is a myth. There are times where you'll call me up and I will absolutely slaughter anything that you found online. I had a honeymoon that I did this for. We were working to get the honeymoon booked, and then I was able to check with a supplier, and we cut $600 off of the cost of the honeymoon, just like that. So it was awesome. They were happy. I was happy. It was great. That's not always going to be the case. And honestly, sometimes you'll come to me and I'll price you something. You'll turn around, if you're one of those people that has to turn around and search it on the internet, and you might find cheaper prices. There are different ways that happens. For the most part, even those online searches that you're doing, those are travel agencies, and they're getting paid commission the same way that I am. But sometimes what some of those companies do is they'll reduce their commission in effort to churn out more more clients, more packages, right? But what happens there is that for that reduced price, the offset that you've got is that you've just become a number. So those large booking agencies like that, where they're just concerned with churning through, they'll give you a lower price. But with that lower price, you're not going to get the same service that you're going to get whenever you're booking with a local travel agency, or a small business travel agency. So if you have issues with those bookings, you may have some problems getting it resolved. So travel agents are not always the cheapest. Like, we're not going to always be able to find you an amazing deal. But more often than not, we're on par with anything that you'll find. And usually I can save you some money, save you some hassle for sure. Myth number 3 is that the travel agents are booking the same thing that I can book online. So if you're sitting there just thinking, I don't know why I would bother with a travel agent, because they're booking exactly what I can book online. It's no different. I'll just do it myself. It's true that you can go on there, you can book it yourself. Remember that you're also using a travel agency of some sort. So with you booking it, somebody's still getting paid that commission. You're just giving it to a big company that treats you as a number. So that's the first thing to remember. However, as a small travel agency, I have relationships with my suppliers, and those relationships allow me to give you extra amenities that you're not going to be able to find when you're just booking on your own. So for instance, there's a promotion right now with a hotel resort chain, all inclusive, really nice, but it's a buy one room, get one room free. So that may or may not be a promotion that you can find when you're looking, or even something as simple as if you're doing a cruise and getting some extra onboard credits, or a free meal. Those are things that, as a small travel agency that works directly with suppliers, that relationship that I build allows me to give you those things. So if you're just booking it, just online yourself, that big company isn't going to be as concerned with giving you the promotion. And sometimes the way that they give us those promotions is it's a pass-through. So that travel agency could have a choice to just stop it and not give it to you, and just kind of keep it on the back end for themselves. As a small travel agency, obviously, I want you to be happy. I want you to be satisfied. I want you to refer me to all of your friends and colleagues. So I am absolutely going to get you as much as I can get you for your money. So you don't have to worry about small travel agencies kind of holding back on you. We're really working to get you everything that we can for your money. So if you're just joining me right now, I will recap the myths that I've gone over. I've covered 3 out of the 5 so far. The first myth is that travel agents are expensive to use, and that's not the case. For the most part, we get paid commissions from the supplier, so it doesn't cost you anything to use a travel agent to book your trip. So that's something to remember if that's a concern of yours. The second myth is that travel agents can find the lowest prices. And while this is sometimes true, just thinking of a travel agent as like a cheap gateway to a vacation is going to leave you disappointed a lot of times, because sometimes we have access to great deals and it's fantastic. But a lot of times our pricing is going to be right on par with what you're finding. The difference is the service that you're going to get whenever you book a trip with us. That's kind of that extra value add that you're not getting when you're booking it yourself, or booking it through a large, like Expedia or Travelocity or something like that online. So even though it's not the cheapest package, you're getting more for your money just from the service side of what you're getting. So the third myth is that, if you think travel agents can book the same thing that I can book, there's no reason I need a travel agent. I can do the same thing myself. I'll just book it and just go on. And that's not the case, because we have a special working relationship with destinations, suppliers, cruise lines, even excursion companies. Like, a lot of times we can get some nice things as far as excursions go, or really kind of help find that extra excursion that fits your personality and what you're looking for. Those working relationships that we develop with our suppliers really gives us an edge over, you just booking it online yourself, because we can kind of make sure that we can go above and beyond and get you extra little bonuses or something nice. So those are the first three. The last two are kind of my favorite myths, I guess. This next one is that travel agents aren't useful in the internet age. And this kind of goes back to that. There's no reason I should use a travel agent because I can book the same thing myself. But I think just one word here will kind of, bring that into perspective, and that's COVID. If you ever thought that travel agents weren't useful in the internet age, I think COVID really brought that into perspective for us, because COVID really, a lot of clients of mine, they might have had to wait for a refund, but they were just waiting and still living their lives. They weren't waiting and spending 3, 4, 5 hours on hold, listening to elevator music, hoping to get through to somebody to talk to them about their trip that was canceled. Or, they weren't frantically trying to figure out how they were going to get money from a tour company online that folded. That was actually a story that happened. I had been working with a couple, and they chose to book their honeymoon outside of me, which is fine. It happens. I understand. However, the company that they booked with was a company that went under when COVID hit. They weren't able to keep their doors open and pay everybody. So this honeymoon couple, logged in to check the status of their trip, saw that it was canceled. They had no recourse. They're trying to call. Nobody's working. They've shut the doors. So they're, frantically trying to figure out if they can get the charges reversed with their bank, and just doing all of that headache. So I think, COVID alone just shows the value of a travel agent. Sure, you can do it on your own, but if you do it on your own, if something goes wrong, you're doing it on your own. And I had clients who, had refunds, and they had partial refunds. And, we would wait a month or so, and we would go back and we would say, you know what, we don't want the credit for the airfare. We want you to refund it. And a lot of people were struggling with things like that had booked it themselves, because they didn't realize that the U.S. government had told the airlines that if they canceled the flight, they could not only offer a credit. They had to offer a refund if it was requested. So if you had booked it yourself and you didn't realize that, you've got this credit sitting over here that you may or may not use anytime soon, because not a lot of people are traveling right now. So, it's just one of those things where having somebody that's knowledgeable about the industry and having them on your side in the event that something goes wrong is probably the biggest benefit in the internet age to using a travel agent. And I am just going to pause really quick, and I'm going to say hi to Barbie. Barbie is one of my clients, so we had some fun chasing down some refunds for her, but we were actually really fortunate that we were able to get everything back for her, and so she's actually rebooked, and she's going to be traveling again soon, which is awesome. So definitely the myth that, travel agents aren't useful in the internet age can definitely be debunked. Thank you, COVID, I guess. I never thought I would thank COVID for much of anything, but I guess one good thing is that it showed the benefits of using a travel agent. Okay, so if you've just hopped in, I'll recap really quick again, and then we'll talk about the number 1 myth of a travel agent. So, number 5 myth, travel agents are expensive to use. This isn't true. Most of the time, we're paid by the suppliers. That's where we get our commission from. So when you travel, the suppliers pay us for that. That's how we get our money. It's not that we're, tacking on extra fees to use our services. Number 4, travel agents can find the lowest prices. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. Some travel agencies use some kind of sketchy practices to come in cheaper, but in doing that, a lot of times they're just pushing through as many vacation packages as they can. So it's one of those things where you become a number and you really lose that connection in case anything goes wrong and you need something fixed. Number 3, travel agents can book the same thing I can. Why would I use them? This really goes to talk about the supplier relationship that we have. We're able to get those extra benefits and things that, you might not get if you're just booking it yourself. So that goes to a lot. I'm sure that if you were here, you were probably here for me talking about the number 4 reason is that travel agents aren't useful in the internet age. And I think that COVID has really shown a lot as far as why you need to have a travel agent. I've heard a lot of stories, a lot of horror stories really, about people spending countless hours trying to chase down their refunds when they didn't use a travel agent and really having difficulty doing that. So that brings us to the last one. So this is like the biggest myth about travel agents that I can think of. If you have anything that you can think of, I'd like to hear it in the comments. But the biggest absolute myth that I can think of as far as using a travel agent is that travel agents get paid to plan your trip. And that is absolutely 100% not true. We don't get paid to plan anything. We only get paid when you travel. So I have implemented a plan to go fee. I mentioned it earlier in the live. And that is basically like the upfront deposit, right? While I'm working to plan your trip, you put the deposit down. And then once you book your trip, that money is applied to your final payment. In the end, it still doesn't cost anything to use me to plan your trip. But I had to implement that because I had quite a few people who I think believed this big myth here is that I get paid to plan your trip. And I don't. I can spend 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours planning a trip depending on the requests and how detailed it is. And some things are very unique and they take a lot of effort to really plan out. So if I'm spending all of that time and then I give you the itinerary and you're like, oh, awesome. And then you book the trip yourself. I just worked all of those hours and I didn't earn a penny. Not 1 cent. So I think that's a common misconception. I think most people think, oh, you get paid to plan it. Yeah, but that's not the case. We get paid when you travel. And if you don't travel, we don't get paid. That was a big thing with COVID this year. I spent a whole lot of hours canceling trips because, I guess I didn't even really cancel that many. Most of them were canceled for me, just calling in to try to get refunds. But I spent all of that time and it was working for free because guess what? Nobody traveled because of COVID. So travel agents get paid when you travel. We don't get paid to plan your trip. That would be fantastic, but that's not the case. So we get paid when you travel. And that big myth of we get paid to plan your trip, I think causes a lot of headaches and a lot of people trying to, I don't know. I think a lot of people just think, oh, well, they planned it. They get their money. I'm going to go book it myself. And so if you're out there and you're using a travel agent to plan your trip, please be courteous of their time and let them book that trip for you as well, because that is the way we get paid. So those are the 5 myths. I'll recap them all again one more time, and then I have a special announcement. I'm really excited about this, so I want to talk about it. So the 5 myths of travel agents. Travel agents are expensive to use. We get paid commissions from the suppliers. Travel agents can find the lowest prices. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, but our service really offsets that difference in the price. So that's something to keep in mind. We can book the same thing that you can book online. There's no need for us. And we have that relationship with suppliers that really lets us, add some extra amenities or some extra things in there to make your trip a little more special. Travel agents aren't useful in the internet age. We talked about COVID and how clearly we are so useful now, especially if you had any trouble getting that refund. And then the number one thing is that we get paid to plan your trip, and that's not the case. We only get paid when you book that trip and you travel. So 5 big myths for travel agents. Again, if you have anything, feel free to drop it in the comments. I'll circle back around to it. But I'm really excited to tell you all my announcement. I'm going to update the description of this video whenever I'm done to give you the link. But I am launching what I'm calling Travel Inside the Box. So this is something where a lot of us are really itching to get out, but we can't quite travel yet. So each month I am highlighting a destination, and when you sign up, you'll get emails sent out to you. And the emails will send you information about the destination, the top things you have to do while you're there, also recipes. So we're going to have a main dish, a dessert, and a drink that are, native to the destination. And just talking about ways that you can travel to the destination, if it's by cruise, if it's by air, what's popular, kind of thing. So I'm really excited. Our first destination is Aruba, and so this month will be dedicated to Aruba. I'll put the link in the description so you can click and sign up. We'll also be doing a live, and I will be chatting about Aruba, answering questions about Aruba. And if I'm feeling froggy, I might make a cocktail, the Aruba Ariba, which is awesome if you've never had it, and sit and just chat with everybody whenever, we're doing the live. I'm really excited. I think it'll be fun. It'll give us a ceviche, please. Yes, ceviche sounds great. We had it whenever we were in Ecuador. It was so good. But it's something to kind of break the monotony, still kind of let you think about travel. Maybe it'll hit some destinations that you've not considered before and put something on your map. If you sign up, you'll be signed up for all of the months. It'll just kind of roll through. You can click through. You can join me in the live. You can make the dishes ahead of time if you're wanting, for the main dish, the dessert, the drink, whatever. Just kind of play with the food, experience the culture a little bit. And then on the live, like I said, I might make a drink. I might have a drink while we're just chatting and having a good old time. But I'm really excited about this. I think it'll be fun. It's something different. It's not just like, oh, here's a little picture about, Aruba, or here's a picture about Peru, or, it's a little more interactive and fun. So I'm super excited about it. I will put the link for that in the description whenever this ends, so that way you all can click through and sign up. I encourage you to go ahead and sign up. I'll send out the emails for, they're like little postcards that I've designed with information on them. So I'll send those out. They'll go out next week, at the beginning of next week, probably on Monday. So you'll want to go ahead and get signed up. And I think that's all I have tonight. If you all have any questions, or if you all have any myths that you can think of about travel agents, I would absolutely love to hear them. It's always fun to know what people think your job is like. Barbie says, she got me my money back. Take that, COVID. Yes, we fought hard for that money and we got it. So, but yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. Like I said, I'm really excited about Travel Inside the Box. I hope that you all sign up and join me. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook. Drop it on the business page or my personal page. I'm always here to take thoughts about travel, answer questions, and hopefully get people traveling again soon. So thank you all again for joining me, and I will see you all next week. Bye.